Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon to everyone in the house, speakers and participants alike. Welcome to this session on unlocking the secrets of the US educational system. It's no secret that the United States is awash with resources and opportunities for those who know where and how to find them, especially when it comes to the educational sector. But we found out that a lot of us are not taking advantage of the resources that are available and how we might actually promote ourselves or position ourselves for excellence and success when it comes to the educational sector. So this session is to give us an opportunity to ensure that we position not just ourselves but our children in the best way to leverage and take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. And you're not going to be able to do that if you don't know what opportunities are out there. So we've got some very, very talented multi-award winning ladies and gentlemen in the house that will talk us through the various sectors of education and hopefully be able to answer your questions comprehensively and concisely this afternoon. Before I delve into our speakers and their expertise, I'd like to share a few housekeeping rules, please. May we ask that everyone remains on mute? You are more than welcome to ask questions. Please do so using the chat function of the meeting, and your questions at the end of the speeches will be read out, and we'll answer as many of them as we can take. We're going to try to keep the meeting within 2 hours, but that's going to give us plenty of time to touch on as many questions as possible. I'm sure that you're going to find this an invaluable session. Please ask questions. Please respond to anything that you see in the comment that you think would be that you might be able to help with. We can also use this as a peer learning exercise. So if you do have experience, then please by all means share it in the chat section. Today, we're only going to have the keynote speaker as well as our 3 speakers that you can see on the screen in front of you actually sharing with us, as well as another moderator that I will be introducing shortly. So these would be the only people speaking today, but of course, by all means, use the chat section. Secondly, I wanted to point out that the mute button will have all the participants on mute until we have the various speakers unmuting themselves to come ahead and give their part of the session. Otherwise, everybody else, if you please bear with us, will remain on mute to ensure that obviously we can all hear each other and get the most out of this session. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speakers, and they'll be telling us a little bit about what they're going to be speaking on today. Our very first speaker is going to be Mrs. Irene Bademosi. As you can see from the screen, if you're able to view the screen, I'm sure many of us might not be able to. Multi-award winning individual. She was the 2017 Philip Merrill Scholars Teacher Mentor Award, High School Counselor of the Year, Certificates of Appreciations, Certificates of Excellence, an Educator That Makes a Difference Award, the Maryland House of Delegates, Howard County. Ms. Bademosi is going to be drawing from her wealth of knowledge in this field to talk to us about the various grants, scholarships, opportunities that abound for not just Nigerians, even though this is organized by a Nigerian American community, but for people all across the United States, and possibly most specifically for people of color. So we're going to be talking about effective college preparation, getting into the top college programs, sourcing financial aids, how to find scholarship opportunities, and how to respond to these applications in such a way that you are in a position to take the best advantage of them, and so much more. So please, by all means, ask your questions. We're going to try and keep this as tight as possible, but as informative as possible as well. Dr. Opesanmi is a medical doctor who has been the beneficiary of the National Honor Society Award, the Best All-Round Award, University of Texas Health Center Tyler Award, the FIRN Award, Top Doctor Award, the CEO Medical Director of Gennesaret Medical Center, as well as the Medical Director Global Vision Foundation and Global Vision Community Health Center. Dr. Opesanmi has been very much entrenched in the community for many, many years. And she's going to be talking to us about the importance of representation, being a part of school boards, being a part of school organizations, ensuring that our voice is counted when certain decisions are being made about not just our children, but our education and our profession. So she's going to draw on her wealth of knowledge and experience and is going to be sharing that with us today. Last but not least is Ms. Joana Idakwo. She is a special education and Section 504 coordinator at the Harmony Public Schools. She is a certified autism specialist, CEO of Mind Investors Incorporated, as well as a contributor for the Who is Who in Diaspora. She is going to be talking to us about special needs, special education, and how to get the most out of the resources that are available when it comes to special needs education. This is going to be an opportunity to answer a lot of pressing questions for parents and individuals for whom this information is most pivotal. So really looking forward to that session. My co-moderator today, I'm joined by the esteemed Dr. Ogunjimi. She's going to be helping me moderate the questions and being a part of this session and ensuring that the most poignant, most relevant questions are asked and answered, and ensuring that everybody on this board gets the most out of this session. So I'm really looking forward to her Q&A session as well. And there's nothing really left for me to say other than to introduce our keynote speaker, who has been responsible for organizing this event and several more, and will tell us what this flagship event is about and what the consequent events will also cover. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Malcolm Fabiyi, who will be delivering his keynote session and introducing us to the rest of the speakers. Dr. Fabiyi, if you'd like to unmute yourself and take it from here.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction. I want to welcome everyone that has joined this session. Certainly want to thank the panelists, the moderators, for taking the time to prepare for this session. Over the last few months, members of the Nigerian American community here in the US, we've been having conversations about enhanced involvement within the community, enhanced involvement within the American society. And out of those conversations, one of the things that has come out of them is a need to begin to more comprehensively and deliberately share the knowledge that a number of us have gathered, either because of the experiences we've had or the work that we do in navigating the American system. And I don't think there's any more fitting aspect of American life or of our lives in general that we probably should start with than education. Education is of critical importance to us as Nigerians. We incredibly value education. And if we go back to the Nigerian engagement in the American educational system, it's actually an engagement that is longer than about 100 years. And one of the most prominent personages of Nigerian heritage that probably was one of the pioneers of Nigerians engaging with the American educational system was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. When Dr. Azikiwe was here in the States in the late 1920s, early 1930s, he went by the name Benjamin. He later changed and adopted his middle name as his main name because of some experiences with racism in the UK. But Azikiwe just basically personified what education meant. He came here, studied, went to a number of American universities, actually went to about 3 different universities, was an excellent student, played sports, and basically personified exactly what education means to us as Nigerians and the opportunities that America offers for us as Nigerian Americans. If we look at the educational achievement of our community, it's incredible, it's immense. For many of us, these statistics are not new, but for those for whom it's new, It's actually quite startling that about 1% of the US population has PhDs, about 4% of the Nigerian community does, so we're about 4 times the number of PhDs that you would find in the community across America on average. In terms of people with master's degrees, a significant number of people in our community have advanced degrees. Almost 40% have at least a first degree. And amongst people aged 25 and above, almost 60% of members of the Nigerian American community have at least a bachelor's degree or higher. This is almost twice the US average. However, despite those stellar educational achievements, the reality is that our median annual income is about $52,000 a year. Only about $2,000 higher than the average median annual income for the average American household. And so the implication of that is that, as many of us know, education is not cheap. Education, along with housing, is one of those areas where a lot of people actually carry significant debt. So we love education. We know education is critical. It's important. It's one of the most important ways in which we can actually open up opportunities to ourselves, but then it is also expensive. How do we navigate that process? That is certainly one of the things that we'll be having a conversation around today. I've also happened to be a beneficiary of exposure to different educational systems. I went to the University of Lagos, where I got my first degree, then went to Cambridge in England, where I got a PhD, and then went to the University of Chicago, the Booth School of Business in Chicago, Illinois, where I got a master's degree in business. And so I've had the good fortune of seeing different educational systems, understanding the similarities across them, but also understanding the significant differences that you might have across different educational systems. And the US educational system is unique. It's, you know, the British system obviously shares a lot of similarities with what a lot of us would be familiar with in Nigeria, but the American system stands alone in its uniqueness. It's an incredibly varied and complex system. There are over 50 million students across all the levels from K through grad school. It's a system that is based on school districts. It's incredibly decentralized. So unlike many other societies where, you know, school is centralized, there's everybody resumes in school at a particular time, and the school hours are exactly similar, whether you're in Lagos or whether you're in Abuja. It's very different in the US. There's an incredibly large number of schools, about 130,000 K through 12 schools, almost 5,000 colleges and universities. The options are varied. They're public options, they're charter school options, they're parochial options where you have the option of a religious type education. The financing options are broad. You can get loans, you might get scholarships. The scholarships you might be able to access can be based on different types of things. They can be based on skills. They can be based on your academic competencies. They might be needs-based. It might be based on activities. It's immense and it's broad. And if you have the good fortune of understanding how to navigate this process well, you can really get a lot out of it. If, however, you have to stumble through the process and learn by yourself, then it can be challenging. And what we're hoping to do today is to have a number of people, our esteemed panelists, with the wealth of experience that they've had helping people navigate this process and navigating the process themselves, share those experiences with us. In addition to the fact that the system itself is complex and broad and varied, the roles that government plays is obviously also very different across the educational system. The federal government has a limited role when it comes to funding. They also provide significant mandates that deal with things like rights and guarantees the quality of education that's provided to perhaps specific groups like at-risk children and families, and special education, and the need to have special education comes under this, which is what our panelist, Ms. Joan Idakwo, will be talking to us about. And then obviously the role that the states play and the role that the districts play. And the 14,000 school districts across the US play an incredibly important role. And our panelists will also be helping us understand what those roles are. In the school district that I belong to, just to indicate to you how powerful these districts are, it's Montgomery County in Maryland. And they have a $9 billion budget administered by 9 members of a school district. And I just put this in perspective that the whole of Nigeria, the Nigerian nation, has an annual budget of $24 billion. That's the school district in Montgomery County has a budget that is just a little bit over 1/3 of what the entire nation of Nigeria has to deal with. But that's also one of the challenges in the system, because just as you would have some districts that have significant amounts of resources available to them, there are also others that struggle to find appropriate resources. And our panelists will help us understand what the implications are of what school district you're in and how to actually begin to find opportunities for yourselves if you're the one that is trying to get back into school, or for our children and wards as they navigate the educational system. As we indicated, it's a large, complex system. It's incredibly decentralized. There's plenty of choice. The costs are varied and different. But then there are also an incredibly large number of opportunities. About $46 billion a year is spent on scholarships and grants in the US. Are we accessing that? Are we finding those opportunities? Where can we find them? How do we find them? What do we need to do to be able to access them? What should our children begin to do now in order to put them in a good position to be able to access this incredible wealth of resources and opportunities that will be available to them? And if we happen to have special needs children or special needs wards, what should they do to allow them to unlock the secrets of the US system? That and more is what will be discussed today. Ms. Rachel Onamusi, our moderator, one of our moderators for today, already has spoken about our esteemed panel of speakers. I need not go into that again. I will now remove myself from the process and allow these incredible women who have taken of their time today to share with us their wealth of experience and their insights. So we're looking forward to hearing from Mrs. Irene Bademosi, Ms. Joana Idakwo, and Dr. Toyin Opesanmi. Thank you very much, ladies, for agreeing to do this. And we're looking forward to how you unlock those secrets that I'm sure all of us that have signed on for today are very keen to hear, to understand, and to begin to take advantage of. Thank you.
Thank you. So without further ado, we're going to start with Mrs. Irene Bademosi. I have enabled screen sharing, so please do feel free to share any material that you would like to use in the course of this session. Otherwise, the floor is all yours, ma'am.
Ms. Bademosi, can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Oh, I have a wrong screen. I'm going to just go ahead and use this screen anyway.
Okay.
My name is Irene Bademosi, and I'm very happy to be here today because I'm one of the lucky Nigerian that was able to get bursary when I was in the university in Nigeria, University of Ibadan. That time we just got the petroleum, and the Nigerian government was willing to invest on her citizens. So this is a token back to my community. This wasn't the one I was going to show. I have worked as a school counselor. In the US, I've worked as a school counselor, as a teacher, as an administrator, where I had over 600 students and 27 teachers working for me. But when I came to Howard County 23 years ago, I have been a school counselor. And I also worked at the central office under the school management and instruction leadership. And I was fortunate to be Counselor of the Year. Also, there's a scholarship in my name at University of Maryland, College Park, $1,000, and many, many other things because of the education that was given to me in Nigeria. I'm going to start from middle school because many parents, they think college application starts in high school. No, even from elementary school, the enrichment programs that you give to your children will be able to prepare them for middle school. But in middle school, you can start getting high school credits. Or you can get your Algebra 1 credit in middle school. You can get your geometry credit in middle school. In fact, there are some students that start math at pre-calculus level. I had a student 1 year that had finished all the math courses in Howard County. And Howard County is, in fact, was rated a couple of years ago as the 3rd richest county in the country. The average family income in Howard County is $116,000. So these are wealthy kids. So you start the enrichment program, then the foreign language. Allow your children to start foreign language when they are in middle school. Allow them to take Spanish, to take Chinese, to take anything that can allow them to start thinking, because learning a new language improves your critical thinking skills, your ability to communicate with others, and you also learn culture, the culture of other people. Then let them develop academic, social, and personal skills. Match their personal goals with the qualities of colleges that they want to apply to. Start taking them when you go on vacation, stop by in any college around and just let that child take a tour. You can be in middle school and start taking college tour, because when you tell your children to be focused at school, sometimes they cannot link what you are saying with the future. But when they start hearing from outsiders, then they start believing you. So I used to take my children out to colleges. Anywhere we went, we just go to a local college and let's just have fun. Sometimes we even go to the cafeteria and buy food, and they sit down and eat. The first step is to create an account with College Board. College Board is in charge of all the college entrance exams into colleges in the US, College Board and ACT. So if you hear of anybody talking about SAT, they have to register at the College Board, create an account. You can be getting questions every day, even from 9th grade. You don't have to wait. When you wait till your junior year, your senior year, you are too late. So let your 8th grader be registered. You can see my own name there, my account there. I'm registered there, even though I'm not a student, but I want to see what my students are doing. In order for me to guide them, I have to be familiar with what they are doing. Parents have roles, teachers have roles. Start early, information is power. There are many school districts in the US use this program. In Howard County, I was the head of my department in 2004. when this program was introduced to us, we took a gamble. We used our budget in the department to purchase the program. And we used the program for about 3, 4, 5 years, and the company reached out to me. That was a super user, so I was asked to come and present in the national conference in Florida. So they asked me to explain to them what I use it for, and I use it for equity. When there's scholarship information, I send it out to my students, and also I send it out to the parents. So the parents and the students, they're getting the same information from it. So many school districts, and because of that, Howard County decided to purchase it, I think about 7 years ago. So I know Montgomery County has it, and I know so many school districts have it. If your child is in middle school in Montgomery County or any of the surrounding counties, or if you don't know, you can email your child's counselor and ask them, do they have Navians in their school? It has all the information. You can check information about any college in the world. It's there. Before a student can be a scholar, they have to learn some skills: how to study, how to take tests, how to take notes, how to be organized, SQ3R, those are reading skills, because when you are reading a long comprehension passage that they will do in SAT, it's so long that you don't have time to go through the passages. But if you have the skills of SQ3R, you can scan through it, and you can be able to get the main idea quickly, and you move on. Time management and strategies, how to concentrate and guidelines, and constructive suggestions for motivation, and also how to do their homework. The difference between the education system in America and the Nigerian or the African education system. When I was in high school in Nigeria, I got promoted, yes, every year. But my final exam that will allow me to get into University of Ibadan was not decided by my teachers. I took the WAEC. I was only assigned a number, which we all did. I didn't know, maybe my paper was graded in Ghana. I had no clue. But after a couple of months, I got my results. So there was no bias. Whatever I got from WAEC was what I deserved. But in America, there's a lot of politics with grading. So every grade that you get in 9th grade, every grade that you get in 10th grade, every grade I get in 11th grade, those are the 3 years we are sending to your colleges on your behalf. And if you apply for any action, before you even finish the first or second quarter of your senior year, the colleges have decided whether to accept you or not to accept you. Therefore, the college application does not start in 11th grade or 12th grade. It starts in 9th grade. So I want you to hold on to that, because those are extremely important. And the skills, they go on and on. Allow your kids to be involved in activities, because I know back home, there was a time my brother did very well in a soccer match, and somebody went to him and said, Okawe, ball mafijo. When we got home and told my mother was cursing that man, that how can you say my son will use football to feed himself for the rest of his year, because they had no clue. So when your children show talents, please do not discourage them, encourage them, because the skills that they have, as long as they love it, let them be the best in it. They can play basketball, let them play better than Michael Jordan or King James. And if they want to dance, let them dance better than Michael Jackson. We don't know where their gifts are. Therefore, allow them to be whoever they want to be. Not everybody can be lawyers. Not everybody can be doctors. Not everybody can be engineers. We don't know their gifts, so allow them to be who they are. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, because I know I don't have much time, but there's one major thing that I would like to explain to you guys. In Nigeria, when you are in a high school, everybody is in the same class. That was Nigeria that I had before I left. Everybody is in the same math class, those who are very good in math and those who are weak in math. But in America, you are segregated. Yes, you live in the same school district, you are paying expensive money for your mortgage, and you think your child is going to blah, blah high school because it's the best high school in the county. Not knowing that your child is in a different school within that school. I will give an example. If you're in ninth grade is the first year of high school in the US. If you're in ninth grade and you want to take English, because you are required to take 4 years of English, every year you take English. We have ninth grade English 9 regular, which means it's for everybody. Then we have English 9th grade honors, which means you are 1 year ahead of your peers. So you're in a different class. Then we have English 9 gifted and talented, which means you are 2 years ahead of others. When you go into regular, you see a lot of children of color. Then when you go to honors, you will see maybe 2, 3, 4 in a class of 33. When you go to gifted and talented, you probably see only 1, maximum 2. And then the gifted and talented level moves up again in 10th grade, you take English 9 GT. By the time you're in 11th grade now, you are taking English college level classes. So you see that those college classes, they prepare you for the top colleges in the country. And the top colleges in the country, those are the things they want to see on your transcript. I'm gonna move a little bit, but I will come back to that. Why these classes are the reason why some students get scholarship and some don't. Some students get into Harvard, Yale, and we wonder why, is because of the caliber of classes that they take. Because when you go into those GT, AP classes, you will see a lot of Caucasians, then you will see a lot of Asians. So the few minorities that you see there, sometimes they are children of immigrants, like maybe from Nigeria or from Ghana, because their parents are pushing. But those are the top secrets that you need to know. It's called middle class secret. In Howard County, the students have organizations. If your child is a leader, you see leadership potentials in your child, allow them to explore leadership opportunities in high school. Howard County Student Association Council, they are very, very powerful. When my daughter was elected as student member of the school board, she worked with the organization, and they tell the school district what they want. So if you're a minority child, if you are not at the table, other children make decisions on your behalf. And a lot of the decisions are not going to favor you because you were not there. So as a minority child, if you are there, you tell them, because in America, they listen to children, they don't mess with them. You tell them that this is what you want, this is what you want, this is what you want. My daughter was able to change so many things in Howard County. She told them they must teach internet safety. Students should not be penalized if their parents don't have money for a project that the school offers, that the school should fund it. And she won. So encourage your children to take part in leadership. And because we have Nigerian Parents Group, we were able to gather so many children together. And 2 of our children actually became Howard County school board members. And my daughter was elected in 10th grade, the first Black child to be elected in 10th grade. And I think the first Nigerian also to win an election in the state of, because she won the state. It was because we prepared her. So you have to prepare your children. If you don't know how to do it, Dr. Opesanmi and I, we have done it for many years. So we'll help you to organize it. Then parents' responsibilities. A lot of our parents, because I'm comparing Nigerian, African-American with the Caucasians and the Asians. A lot of our parents, we buy expensive things for our kids. We send them to school. We think they are in school like we were in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we're in boarding school. And our teachers, they were even tougher on us than our parents sometimes. But here, you have to be looking. You cannot close your eyes. You have to see what is going in and what is going out. So be there to support your child, attend school events, and also review the school calendars. When they have parents-teacher conference, please show up. Your children already have funny names, and when you don't show up, they think you don't care. And then why you care? So you need to know the teacher. Even if your child is getting straight A's, you need to have that close contact and relationship with the teacher, so that you know who is grading your child, because you know the grades are going to college when your child is high school, and that will decide whether they're going to get scholarship or if you're going to borrow money. So you have to be there. Requirement for a 4-year college, your academic performance, like I said, your grades from 9th grade, and we have a lot of standardized testing, SAT, and the ACT. They are on the same level, but majority of students take SAT. But it's funny, a lot of minority students tend to do well on the ACT. The TOEFL is the test that is given to students that are speakers of other languages. AP exam is a college level exam. If you take an AP class and you take a test and you score above 3, many colleges will accept those test scores and give you credits for them. If your income is low, don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed. Apply for free lunch. If you are receiving free lunch, your children are not going to pay for SAT, they're not going to pay for college applications, they're not going to pay for anything. We have money and we have resources for them. Letters of recommendation, extremely important. Your child has to have relationship with some teachers in the school when they're in high school, especially in their junior year, that can divert for them. The American system is a funny system, like Dr. Malcolm said. And this is the mantle I'm going to take on when I retire, that they should stop asking for letters of recommendations, because when they request for letters of recommendation, your children and yourself, you sign a waiver that you will never see that letter of recommendation written by teachers on behalf of your child. And about 5 years ago, I had a nasty experience of a teacher who wrote a letter of recommendation for one of my students who I recommended for a scholarship at UMBC, Maya Hoff Scholars Program. In that letter, the teacher said they should not give the scholarship to the boy, that they should give it to somebody else. But she was unfortunate, she gave the letter to the boy to mail. So he opened it and he showed it to me. And I took appropriate action. I made sure I sent it to the school board. So you have to know who is writing letters of recommendations on behalf of your child. The transcript is where your records, the final exam for every grade level. We have 9th grade final exam, final grades, and the 11th grade, 10th grade, everything is on a piece of paper called transcript. Then college essays, they have to write about their experiences in life. I always call it a book of life. In everybody's book of life, we all have different chapters. So I always encourage my students to write about the chapters where they experience struggle in life. Because what colleges want to see, they want to see how you are able to handle stress. Do you sink or you keep on marching? So your reaction to setbacks is extremely important to colleges when you apply.
Thank you, ma'am. We have about 10 minutes left just to give you
that's
a good idea of time.
Okay. So I'm going to skip some stuff. I've talked about okay. For college admission, a good student will take science, math, world language, and so everything every year. Don't say, oh, because they only need 2 years of world languages. Yes, they need 2 years of world language, but you are competing with other students. So there are some students that are going to be coming with 4 years. So why don't you have 4 years of everything? If it's possible, you can have more than that. And when you are in high school, you can start taking college classes at the community college or in a 4-year college. If you can invest in a 4-year college when your child is in high school, I would say do so. Because many colleges do not take credits from community college. I have to be honest with you. I know they are pushing for it, but the only colleges in the state of Maryland that would take credits, like from my county, Howard County, and our community college is one of the best colleges. The only universities that will take credits will be College Park, and you have to have B or A. college, UMBC. The states, they have an articulation with the state universities. But you want to go to University of Chicago and you have straight A's at Howard Community College, they will not take it from you. Even Johns Hopkins will not take it from you. American University will not take it from you. So you have to understand the community college is good for those who want to go for associate degree. You get your associate degree, then you can move on. But that you are going to transfer it to a 4-year college, unless it's not a selective 4-year college. And the more math you take, the better for you for any major. If you are good in math, your opportunity is going to be great because America is not good in math and science. So as a minority child, invest in your child. We have tutors that can come to your house and tutor your child. And I always tell our kids that, like when we're in Nigeria studying for WAEC, we find somebody who was an expert in science, another one in math, another one in English, another one in literature. And we sit together and study together. So I wish our kids can learn those skills. Colleges like progressive improvements. They don't like regression. They like this kind of students that started very low. As the student matures, the GPA continues to rise. They like that. They don't like somebody who starts with 3.4 GPA, then goes down. So make sure you continue to encourage your children because they don't know the implication. But when a college admission counselor sees a transcript, even me, if I see a transcript, I can write a whole book about this student. But it gives me a lot of information of who you are, how you work, the pattern of your grades. Are you up or down, or you are like that, or you are up? Okay, PSAT. If you have a child in high school from 9th grade, allow them to be taking the PSAT. Because if you take the PSAT and you score very high, you will qualify for National Merit Scholarship. I know so many universities that are reaching out to me. If I know of any student with that's is a National Merit Scholarship scholar finalist, they are willing to pay for it. For example, University of Texas at Dallas, there was a year they invited me and they told me we even pay for the students' transportation, even for the parents to visit. And summertime, they'll give you money. They can give you money to go to Cambridge, to Oxford, to anywhere you want and do research. All you just need to do is to prepare for the test. But like I said, if you need SAT fee waivers, you need any waiver for anything in America, nobody's gonna say no. You just go to your school, ask your school counselor, you need a waiver for SAT and for ACT. And you cannot pay for college application, you let your school counselor know. My parents cannot pay for it, can I get a waiver? And you get a waiver because they are very expensive. One application could be $75. Colleges visit your schools, but because of the pandemic right now, the colleges are not visiting, but they do request that you join their virtual tours, and sometimes they come to schools. Like in my school, I have hosted so many, and if you guys look at, you can attend some of the workshops that I'm gonna be doing next week. I have information on Yale, Harvard, everywhere, University of Maryland. They all reach out and they come online and present to the students on Zoom. Okay, what you need to include in your resume for you to get a scholarship. Your GPA, like I said, AP, honors classes, college classes, summer enrichment programs, community service. You have to serve the community. Colleges want you to serve, and internships also. You want to be a doctor, spend your summer with Dr. Opesanmi, see how she works with patients. Then when you apply to college and say you want to study medicine, then they can see that you have demonstrated some interest. You don't just apply to college and want to be a doctor. There's no evidence to show that you have shown interest in the career. I'm gonna Okay, yeah, they want leadership, they want you to be able to collaborate, and they want special talents. And also check your children's social media, make sure they are not posting anything that can get them into trouble. College essays, what to do with the college essays. And I talked about the, I'm gonna skip that. Okay, financial aid. Every student applying to college in America is recommended to apply for financial aid. You fill out the FAFSA, that's the website. A lot of people think, I'm making too much money, my child is not gonna qualify for financial aid. But there are some programs that your child will qualify for. But if you don't fill out the application, then you are gonna deny your child from that opportunity. So it's recommended that you fill out the financial aid form. And let me tell you, you see some schools, they say $80,000 a year, you're scared. But guess what? Because one of my daughters went to a school that was $75,000 a year. I'm a widow. And I knew I couldn't pay for even anything more than $10,000 would be a stretch for me because of my own income. So, but I allowed her to apply to this college that was $75,000 a year. And fortunately for me, I was one of the poorest there. So I ended up paying like about 8,000, 7,000. In fact, I will show my phone records that I call my parents in Nigeria and they will take money out of it. They will deduct my payments. So make sure you take advantage of that. Don't be scared of the price tag. They have a lot of endowments and they will help you. Okay, how to search for scholarship. If you have Naviance, there's a search engine, national search engine that will give you a list of scholarships that you are qualified for. But if you don't, you can use Sally Mae to search. And you can ask your parents or your teachers, not your parents, but your teachers to nominate you for some scholarships. I did nominate a student for the Bill Gates scholarship. And the scholarship, I think he has stopped that now. The scholarship allowed that child to get any form of education from high school till she's 30 years old. The girl just called me a couple of weeks ago. She just finished her PhD at University of Pennsylvania. She went to College of Women, William and Mary. She went to law school and she got her PhD. They paid for laptop, her books, everything that she needed since she left high school. So there are those scholarships that are there. Then the Quest Bridge. If your child is good, tell your child to tell this counselor now to nominate the child in 11th grade. They will prepare you. They have a list of schools that they have already had articulation with them. And these are top universities in the country. And you have scholarship, they will work with you and mentor you. So all these are available, they are out there. That's another one. This is the Gates Scholarship. That's the West Bridge.
I think I've unmuted. All right, thank you so much, Mom.
And all the scholarship links are there.
Yes, please leave them up until we get, I'm not sure if Dr. Opesanmi has slides that she'd like to share, but I want to thank you so much for that session. I think we could go on and still not cover all of the great resources that are available. Thank you so much for that. We will be taking questions at the end of the session, so please bear with us and we will get to the questions. Like I said, chat boxes available, so please pop your questions in there. We are taking notes of all the questions and we'll respond to as many as we possibly can of these questions before our time's up this evening. Next, I'd like to present Dr. Opesanmi. We've already covered her extensive qualifications and expertise in this field, but most importantly today, she'll be talking to us about the importance of parental engagement, school boards, and other relevant forms of representation. I believe this is something that Mrs. Bademosi has already covered to some extent, but if we're not at the table, then it's very difficult to make any sort of changes that benefit our people and our communities. So I would like to have Dr. Opesanmi come give us a very brief talk on the importance of being engaged and involved in school boards and these other forms of organizations. Dr. Opesanmi, if you can unmute yourself, please. There you go. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much. And thanks for all you do, Rachel.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to have you here again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I just want to start with something about me, quick experience that I have had in this country. I have a slightly different experience from my sister, Mrs. Bademosi Shola. I came here on an F1 visa, and my parents paid my first degree straight up. Fortunately for them, I spent 3 years getting my first degree instead of 4. So it saved them a year. But then I went into medical school, and my husband paid my first year. And then I decided to get scholarships for the rest. I just wanted to mention that I ended up paying only a fraction, mere fraction of my $100,000, because by God's leading, without knowing, I ended up in underserved areas in Baltimore City, and the state paid my $100,000 off, $25,000 a year for 4 years. So there are ways to pay off loans, student loans, by working in certain areas. Wanted to just put that in. But in this school system, now my children were now in school, and I did residency in Texas. In Texas, participation is important at all levels, but sometimes it doesn't give you what you need. You need people like Irene Bademosi in your corner to still lead you and guide you. While I was in Texas, one of my children was given double promotion, and he refused to accept it. He said he would not go to prom with people older than him. Blew my husband's mind. They fought like crazy, and I stayed out of it. He did not get moved up. So we got to Howard County in Maryland, and as Shola had said, I don't know how, I'm listening to her tonight, and I never heard this aspect of it. I don't know how he ended up in all the, the honors classes, the classes where you have only one Black kid, but he ended up in all of them. And he got into high school and became the first African-American, really Nigerian-American chair of the student body. It's an almost all-white school, and he did participation. So he started participating before I got in. I, by some way through fun, became the chair of the scholarship committee in Howard County, and that was how I met Mrs. Bademosi when I wanted to give an award to someone. I participated in the school system. I was in there with the teachers. They email me when I need to know something, but nobody really, not the counselors there, really showed me how to actually benefit the best I could when it comes to navigating college, getting scholarships. My children did not get scholarships because they said we made too much. FAFSA did not favor us, but we didn't have Shola Bademosi then to guide us as to what to do. My son just graduated when I met her. And when she was helping other parents in the system, I learned a lot. In participation, she did not say enough about Jire Bademosi, our daughter, who was the first African-American, Nigerian-American on the school board as a student in Howard County. She contested. They had to raise only $300. All of those Nigerian students rallied around her. They campaigned. They did it fair and square. You needed to have listened to her debate. You will be proud. And why did that happen? Because we started, Shola and I, the Nigerian parents of Howard County, to participate in the school system. And so the children decided to form their own organization away from us. So when we met in the basement in my house, they were meeting upstairs in my den. And so when Jire decided to run, all the kids rallied around her. They campaigned in all of their schools. They strategized, and you'll be proud, she won. She wasn't the only one. She made changes at that age in the school system. Then after her, Dr. Williamson, still in our organization, decided to run and won. And most of them ended up in Ivy League schools. So with me, with all my participation and not having all the details that I needed to have, I have a son who did get into Ivy League school and got scholarships, but he didn't get full scholarship, 100%, and that was the condition I gave. So I said, no, he's not going there. But I want to say that there are scholarships that are outside the ones that are listed on that scholarship list, that people like Pepsi, all these big companies that they give, believe it or not, they could be 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, they add up. All children need to do is write letters usually, and they will get Walgreens and all. They have these little scholarships, they add up. They can get 100,000 easy, more than that in those scholarships, and it's theirs to spend the way they want. So it's critical though that parents participate at all levels. If you don't, your children will miss out. For parents who are on this forum today, I congratulate you, because guess what? I know most of you, you came from my text, come in. You have me, and I'll link you to Mrs. Bademosi, to now give you one-on-one guidance into those things that are not listed on the school curriculum, not on anything that you can benefit from. Get involved at the level of your county. Get involved in scholarship committees, in the committees that make decisions that impact the school. You don't need anything special to do it. Just call or email. Thank God for Google these days. Get involved. When you're sitting at that table, you can make a difference in your child's life. You must get involved. Otherwise, you cannot get the full benefit of the system that is so lucrative here for the children. US schools are unique, as Dr. Malcolm said. And I'm going to make a little twist into medicine. In medicine, you want to go, a child wants to go into medicine, they have to volunteer. That's where I know the best, so I'm using that as an example. They have to, get with somebody like me, just shadow, be able to write it that they've done X amount of hours in that field, in the clinic, and then get recommendation from somebody like me. But guess what? They need to research to know the medical schools and what kinds of students they take. If they don't fit the profile, they shouldn't waste their time. And when they finish medical school and they get into residency, for instance, my residency program, I applied and got in blindly. My husband said we were going to Texas, we were moving to Texas. I'm like, sure. So I researched the best 10 programs in Texas because I like the best. And I applied and I got interviews in all of them. So I got there, just interviewed and ranked the top 3 as my top 3. And I got into one of the top 3s. You know what I found out? They do not accept foreign trained medical doctors. When the applications come in, if you're foreign trained, it goes to the trash. They don't even look at it. And then for the other applicants, you have to be in the top 10 of your medical school to get in. I was the first ever Black physician to do residency there. And I didn't know that. It was important. It would have been important for me to know these details. So at least research the residency programs. Would I have picked that program? Probably not. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. I worked my behind out, but it better prepared me for who I am and where I am today. It was tough though. It was not easy. So looking into programs today, especially for foreign trained physicians, you have to look, and thank God again for Google. You just Google it, you will find out what programs are foreign trained friendly. That's one. For our children also, what do they want to do? What's their major? What schools will be best for them? We should not be short-sighted to just say they should go to some college or the other. When they finish, which one will benefit them the most? But I realize that my topic is to get involved, to encourage us to participate, to get involved in this system so that we can make changes. We've been preaching this on this forum, on all fronts, to get involved in politics, to get involved in education. But the reason why this is important at this time is that it all starts here with education. And if we don't get involved, guess what? We cannot have a say at the table. We cannot make a difference. We cannot get the best for our children. We can't get involved. Again, just go online, call. If you need the resources and you don't even know how to do that, contact me. If I don't know what to do, I'm going to call my sister, Irene Bademosi. She will lead, guide, and direct. Please get involved. Let's make a difference. Let's get even better than we are. We're doing good, but we are not great yet. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so very much, Dr. Opesanmi. I can always rely on you for an impassioned, fervent speech and a rallying cry to get everyone on board. This is what we need: more seats, more bums on seats, more seats around the table. So thank you so much for that message. We're going to move swiftly on to Ms. Joana Idakwo. Ms. Joana is going to be speaking on special education, as this is her area of expertise. And I know that there are a few parents in here that need as much information as they can, as much help as they can. So, right, I believe she's ready because she's got her slides up, so I'll mute myself and ask you to take over. Oh, I can hear you. Hi, Joana, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And I just want to say thank you to you and Dr. Malcolm for allowing me the opportunity to present to everyone today. I'm going to start off by following off with a comment Ms. Bademosi made about starting ahead in terms of planning for life after secondary school. A lot of times parents assume that you're supposed to start planning life after secondary school maybe towards the end of high school. They start talking about it in the 11th or the 12th grade about what it is that they need to do to start planning for that particular life. But as she said, you need to start in middle school, and it's especially essential for our students in our students with disabilities as well. I'd like to let parents know that you need to start talking to your child's teacher about what's next for them in terms of life or after high school when they start middle school. For kids with severe disabilities, I would actually even advise parents to start talking about certain things with their teachers at elementary school level, because there are some resources or some programs that you need to have your child registered for at elementary school, because the wait lists are usually very long. Biggest thing that I want parents to take away today from here in terms of special education is the WIOA Act. The WIOA Act is the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. It was enacted and put in place by the federal government to support all Americans, especially our kids with disabilities and those that have, and youths. Its purpose was to enhance the nation's workforce, and it was supposed to be helping us to provide access to quality jobs for all Americans, especially those with disabilities. How do you access the WIOA Act, or how do you access the jobs that are available to individuals with disabilities? you have to find out from your teachers, your child's teachers. Usually over here in Texas, I'm sorry, I'm going to be using some terminologies that we use over here in Texas. I'm not familiar with what they use over there in the East Coast. We call them case managers. If your child has a disability, they should have an assigned case manager in their school. Your child's case manager should be connecting you to your local workforce. Your local workforce will be able to provide stuff like job readiness for your child. They should be able to provide counseling for your child in terms of college and career. For some of our kids with disabilities, there's a possibility that unfortunately, they may not be able to get into college. They may not have the capability of cognitive ability to be able to complete courses at the college level. So we need to be preparing them for, like I said, life after high school, not sitting down at home, but most especially finding jobs that can make them independent. And so when you connect them to the workforce, your local workforce should be able to prepare them, provide them with sort of job training skills to be able to find jobs in the community, and not necessarily also find jobs, but these workforces would also help them find some sort of employment. Most times, I don't know about right now because of the pandemic, but most times they're also supposed to be able to find them paid work experience. This is after they've been able to train them and provide them with job readiness skills to face the workforce. The biggest thing I also advocate for, and I beseech parents to make sure that their case managers connect them to workforce, is self-advocacy support. A lot of our parents, we're scared about the fact that our kids, because they have disabilities, we don't want other people to know. But and so what we end up doing is we end up making our kids also become ashamed of that disability. And by default, what ends up happening is the kids are not able to utilize the resources that are available out there to them because they cannot advocate for themselves. But what workforce does is it helps train the kids, gives them self-advocacy skills that they be able to use to be able to advocate for themselves, to be able to get the jobs it is that they need. How do you become a workforce customer? Like I said earlier, ask your child's case manager. In some states, I think they're referred to as your child's special education teacher. You ask them how you can get connected. If they're unable to provide you with information, like I believe the good doctor said, use Google. Locate your local workforce office. I think a couple of days ago, I went online and I was able to find information about your local workforce office for New York. I was able to find your local workforce office information for Atlanta. I was also able to find some information about local workforce office in Maryland. Contact them. They will request for some information. You provide them with that required documentation. You follow up with an assigned counselor. Usually once you provide them with the information that they request for, most times they'll ask for like a birth certificate, social security number. They would also ask for information regarding your child's disability, which you should have. Annually, you should have an IEP meeting, individualized education plan meeting, yearly with your school, your child's school. And so you would provide that information to the local workforce. You follow up with an assigned counselor. And once you have been assigned a counselor, and once they certify you as a customer for the workforce, you should have access to resources. A lot of times for our kids that are not significantly disabled, sometimes the local workforce should be able to provide scholarship opportunities for your kids. They should be able to pay for college level courses. They should also be able to provide jobs for your kids. And as I said earlier, they should also be able to provide job readiness skills for your kids. I'm an advocate for kids with disabilities, and I am also here, like the good doctor and Mrs. Bademosi. I'm here to help you out if you are having struggles with trying to identify your local workforce office, or if you're even having troubles with advocating for your child or trying to get an actual case manager in your child's school. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be able to provide you with support and resources that you may need to be able to access support for your child with disabilities. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I have a website, and I'm also on WhatsApp. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Idakwo. Thank you very much. If you'd just like to leave that final slide up just for a few seconds more.
Yes, ma'am.
Just in case anyone needs to grab those details. Where is it gone? Perfect. Yes, if you'd just like to leave that up for just a few seconds. Now we're moving on to the question and answer session of our of this meeting. I'd like to introduce a lady who has been invaluable in making sure that this runs smoothly. The fact that it's my voice you're hearing doesn't mean that there are not a lot of robust engines working underneath to make sure that this event can come together as seamlessly as it seems like it has. If it looks like everything is running and everything is going okay, it's because there's some people who have been doing some amazing work. I'd like to introduce Dr. Esther Ogunjimi. She will be positioning the questions to the various experts that have spoken this evening and asking them to elaborate and enlighten a lot of our listeners on some of the questions that they have. So without further ado, Dr. Ogunjimi, thank you once again for all of the amazing work that you have done, not just in setting this up, but in getting us this far. So please, I believe you have the questions and the experts are all waiting to lend their voice to your inquiries.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I would like to take the opportunity to thank our speakers, for a wonderful job that they have done. Ms. Irene, Bademosi, Dr. Toyin Opesanmi, Ms. Joana, Idakwo, and Dr. Malcolm. While everyone was speaking, I was kind of trying to find some of the questions that came up. But before I move on to start giving the questions out, I would like to add at this junction that even though I'm a co-moderator, I have had the opportunity to work with children with special ed care needs for 10 years. And I also had a child with special ed care needs myself. And piggybacking on Mrs. Joana Idakwo, there are so many programs that are available out there. As a caseworker at that time, I was one of the people that was responsible for linking the families and the children to some of the services in the community. And because of my knowledge of the system, I was able to make use of it for my child as well while she was in college. And it's really, really helped us tremendously. So having said that, the first question was from Dr. Fabiyi. He asked if a parent is in parent is in a district without navias. I couldn't get that very well. Is there some other option for accessing the platform?
The school has to purchase the program. However, the internet has made everything so easy for everybody. Google. And also the college board is available for everybody. The child can register a college board, and it does have its own scholarship search engine also. Salime has its own scholarship. In fact, there are so many resources there. The only thing that Naviance does is that it's able to summarize them. So they are housed in a program instead of you going everywhere. But that shouldn't be much of a problem if I know, because I have some links for scholarships that I was not able to show in my presentation. And in addition to that, there's act.org that also has resources. And I forgot to mention a program to call the Khan Academy. If your child is struggling in any class and you need extra support, just enroll your child in that program. You don't pay for it, it's free. And they have resources, tutoring program from basic math to calculus, even to taking GRE exam, LSAT exam, MCAT exam. So they are all out there as resources. There's something that I want to add to my sister's presentation. My special ed sister. I'm the case manager for students with 504 plan in my school. So I plan a meeting and I give accommodations to students. There's a secret that I want you guys to know. When a student says they have ADHD, that is when we say, oh, that child is too troublesome. Like for me, I cannot sit down in a place for 1 hour without moving. But the way we see it in Africa, we label that child as a troublesome child, but here, the other side, they take it as is a medical condition. And because they come with a note from a doctor, if everybody is taking a test for 1 hour, I can allow that child to take his or her own test for 1.5 hours. If that child is taking an entrance exam like the SAT that everybody takes in 3 hours and they go home, the child can tell me, I want to take my own for 2 days. So I can test the student and the child can say, I want to test one-on-one. I don't want anybody in my room, just me. And these are civil rights that must be followed. If I give accommodations to students and I give it to a teacher, it's a legal document. If that teacher doesn't follow the accommodation, the teacher can be sued. And then you take the 504 plan. Now you can take AP classes, which are college classes that are very difficult, but you can apply those accommodations to those classes. And then you can transfer AP classes to many colleges. And you can see how they narrow the community college transfer. Some colleges will not accept that, but the AP classes, because it's mainly for the Caucasians, many colleges accept them. So we see somebody now with time and a half on their time, using the accommodation also when they finish college to take the MCAT, they use it. To take LSAT.
Bademosi, I'm sorry, I may have to interrupt you because there are some more questions that you may have to be the one to address for us. So let me quickly go to this other question. Maybe, as you addressing this one, other things come to you, you may be able to put it together in your response for us. So the next question that we have, it says, to what extent can parents insist on having their children get into honors or gifted programs? Can children be targeted and victimized if their parents are too pushy about having them on these programs? I'm sure that is an area that you may want to address.
As a parent, you have the power. The school doesn't have the power. You are in charge.
Yes.
You are the one paying their salary through your mortgage and taxes. So the only advice I have for every parent is that you know your child's strength. I have 2 daughters. None of the Caucasian teachers that they have saw any talent in them. But believe me, I knew my children and I pushed them in areas that I knew they were strong. And they surprised them. One is an associate professor now in a University College of Medicine. Ended up going to Columbia and got PhD from Columbia, but no teacher saw talent in her. Neither my younger daughter too, nobody saw the talent in her. And you can't be stupid and work in the tech industry in Silicon Valley. And so whatever your child is strong in, if it's math, let them take the maximum level of math that is available. If the teacher says, no, I'm not recommending, there's something called waiver. Ask them, do you have waiver form? Sign the waiver form. And if you're able to communicate with me, I'll teach you how to go around it.
Okay, that takes me to the
I can be available to you.
Communication. Some of us here would like to know how they can communicate with you and the rest of the panel. Is there something that you would like to share your contact information? If you would like to do that, we will encourage you to put it on the chat for us so that, you know, those that would like to be in contact with you, they can have your contact information. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. So I have this other question that says, what are the specific benefits that participants in the school board provide? Dr. Malcolm was the one that asked that question.
The students get scholarships for different things. Dr. Opesanmi was telling you about local scholarships. For local scholarship, because my daughter ran for the school board, so she has leadership opportunity there. And because she ran for Howard County, then it encouraged her to run for the state. So she ran for the state and she won. So when she was applying to college, she was already featured in Time magazine as top 25 juniors in the world. That was enough for her to get all scholarships. And that opened all the opportunities, all the doors that she still enjoys. She's 29 years old now, but believe me, what she got from running for the school board and to where she is now, laid the foundation for her career. So any program that your child is involved, either leadership, either sports, we will be having these sections, and I want us to go through Dr. Malcolm because we need more people to come into our program. Anybody that wants to come through, we have to go through Dr. Malcolm or through Dr. Opesanmi, because we want to encourage Nigerians. Dr. Opesanmi and I, we did something similar to this in 2005. But a lot of our people, once they get what they want, they leave and they don't come back. But we need to grow this. So there are so many ways in which we can get this, and we'll continue with the conversation. It's not going to end today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bademosi. That is one of our participants that is joining us from outside the United States. She says she got a flyer from someone, and from someone in the US, and she would like to know, since most of our conversation have been on, schools in the US, scholarships in the US, these participants would like to know if there is any form of international, scholarships for international students, if there are any opportunities for international students, in terms of scholarships and stuff.
Yes, I've had so many people from Nigeria. In fact, my nieces are here in the US, and there are tons of scholarships. The only thing, you don't get scholarship if you go to any state college, because the taxpayers will come after the school that they are giving their money to foreigners. But if you apply to private schools, any private university in the US, you are getting, your name will be in the pool because they are private universities. And we have a lot of them because America houses almost 70% of the world universities. So there are tons of places. There are some schools you will apply to that will beg you to come, and they will pay for everything. And there are some schools that you will have to pay, and there are some schools that will give you scholarships. When we are talking of the top schools, these most selective colleges, they don't usually give scholarship, they give grants, because almost everybody that goes to that school is 4.0 GPA. Everybody is brilliant, but they will work with you based on your income. But some middle level universities, if you are going there, if the profile of the school is like they accept student with 3.5 or 3.3, and you are going there with 4.0, they are going to give you full ride. So there's a way to play around it, even for those who were born in the US. it's not all state colleges will benefit you. That's why I'm not an advocate for, not too much of an advocate for community college, because I know the secret behind it. I used to teach in a community college too. Because when you go to, a lot of people go through community college, but when you transfer to a 4-year college, you are not getting scholarship. So you have to strategize, and also you look at the minority number in that school. You look at the school profile. If the minority is 3%, I tell my students, apply, 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 because they want you so that their school can look good. So they want you. So if you're an international student, the sky is your limit. And there are so many scholarships also, like Jack Ken Cook, the former owner of Redskins, has a lot of scholarship for international students, and so many resources are out there. Just tell them to apply to private school, not state school, not government schools.
Thank you.
I wouldn't rule out some of the state schools with regards to scholarships as well. Because I was a recipient, and at the time I was an international student, and I was a recipient of some scholarships from a state university when I was here in Texas. So I would also employ that individual to research some states. There may be some big states that would not provide scholarships, but look at the small states as well, the rural states. They would probably have options for you as well.
And if I may add to that,
Dr. Ogunjimi, may I say something, please? So that same effect. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So my nephew did SAT in Nigeria, killed it. Howard University begged him to come, full ride. And from there, he went to Duke. He now has PhD in engineering, straight from Nigeria. Mm-hmm. So encourage kids in Nigeria to study hard for the SATs. We can guide you as to materials and how to study and how to take US exams. It's actually different from how we learned how to take exams in Nigeria. We can share, how to do that and let them do very well and apply.
That is so fun. That
has resources for them. And the College Board also have a practice SAT. And also if they sign up for the question of the day, they will always be getting questions of the day. To my sister, Ms. Idakwo, about the, policies have changed. There was a time that you can get scholarship as an international student in a state school. But any state that does that now is going to get into trouble. But there are few state schools in the country, actually. We have many thousands of schools. So there are thousands of opportunities for students to apply to the private school. Like Howard University is a private school. Duke is a private school. They don't belong to any government, and they will embrace you because they want their school to look good. Therefore, they are looking for students with potentials, with high GPA, high SAT scores, that they can brag. So encourage our students, they need to apply and don't be discouraged, just keep on applying. And we can always guide them as a consultant, say, at least that's our talking back to Nigeria.
Just on this topic, and we know that we don't have that much time left, but I see that Dr. Ugoji would like to speak, and she's also been very instrumental to setting this up. So please, if you'd like to unmute yourself, if I can see you, then I'll do that for you. Dr. Ugoji, if you'd like to unmute yourself, then yes, please go ahead and your contribution, please.
Hi, everyone. Well-spoken panelists. You guys did an excellent job. I just want to comment on the scholarship part for schools. The problem is if you're able to get into the school system already, into the college, you can qualify for everything. I know, I mean, I'm not part of admission, I'm part of the school system. But when I need information, I go to my admission department and ask. In my division, where I'm the dean, nursing, we have more than 45% of international students in one of my programs. So depending on your status, depending on the visa that brought you into the program, you know, if you're officially, that's how I explain it to students. If you're officially allowed into the school for that particular program, you are qualified for whatever that, you know, any student in that discipline or in that program is qualified. I don't know how they address, you know, people that don't have paper or good paper. I don't know how to put it. If they are in school, are they qualified for some of those resources? Maybe Dr. Irene Bademosi, maybe she can speak more to that, because I always go to my advising department, I go to admission department, I go to my counselors to get more information for my students. I just want to share that. Thank you.
Yes, I have a niece that goes to Pratt. Pratt is an international, is a private school. My niece is studying architecture there because she had good GPA, good SAT from Nigeria. They gave her $20,000 scholarship every year. Then her younger sister, who wanted to become a computer engineering, and I wanted to keep my eyes on her because she was 15, and I didn't want her to go to a big school. I wanted her to go from home. So she's at UMBC. She has 4.0 GPA. She's not qualified for scholarship because it's a state school. They like her, she's on this list, she's doing it. In fact, she decided to give herself scholarship. She said, Auntie Shola, you know what, I'm just gonna do it for 3 years. And she's making sure she's taking summer classes. So she's home right now in Nigeria because of the pandemic, but she's taking classes online. And when she comes in next semester, she's coming to graduate. So there are ways in which international students also can give themselves scholarship. Instead of waiting for the 4 years, just do everything in 3 years. Then you skip 1 year payment. But for those who are on a student visa, with the current government, he has made so many things so difficult for our kids. Things that they used to overlook before, they don't anymore, but they can play through private schools. Harvard is private, Yale is private. So there are tons of places to apply to, even within the state of Maryland. Johns Hopkins is an example. Oh yes, I remember that. Mayor Bloomberg gave a lot of money to Johns Hopkins because I went there for my second master's, and they invited me over, I think about 15 months ago. They have about $3 billion, and they are looking for minorities that are talented. So if you have nieces or nephews in Nigeria that want to study anything, science, even arts, because they are including some things into their curriculum. Once they are accepted, they will guarantee that their tuition is paid for. So they will meet their demonstrated needs. All the schools that I have just mentioned, once you are accepted into those schools, but for state schools, I have to tell you, because this is my job, this is what I've been doing in America, and I've been here now for 33 years, they will not give you money anymore. But for private schools, they will give you, because if you go to a private school at Johns Hopkins as an American citizen, and Shola Bademosi came from Nigeria as a Nigerian citizen, you are going to pay the same amount of money, and you qualify for the same amount of resources. So take advantage of the private school. That's the major secret actually that I need for you to know today.
If I may add something to what Mrs. Bademosi is saying, you know, a lot of things have really changed for real, but I have a little bit of exposure to HBCU, that is historically Black college universities. I had my undergraduate there, and I'm also teaching as a professor in one of those HBCU. The way they get around it is this: we have a lot of Nigerians in HBCU universities, and they really, really love to have our children there because they know they are extremely smart. So what they do is they go around the issue of scholarship, and they give them like a form of graduate assistance or some kind of grants in the school, which enables them actually to pay for their tuition. I had about 3, nephews that came from Nigeria that went to school free at TSU, Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas, School of Pharmacy, all because they had a 4.0 GPA. But, because they helped the HBCU colleges to put up their statistics up there. So they love to have our children there. So if you don't mind, if you are not looking for Ivy League college or one of those name brand colleges, HBCU is also a very good avenue for our international students to get recognized and be given some kind of financial backing.
Not only that, actually, with what is going on in the country now, like I said, I work in a county that is majority white. And so all my Black students, they want to have the Black experience. And they are coming back to be actually more successful than those that are going to the so-called top schools too. Because in the historical Black colleges, they are going to mentor you. If you have a 3.0 GPA and you want to go to Morgan State University, you're probably going to go for free. And when you are there, they are going to mentor you. I remember when my older daughter was in college, and she went to all-white school, so she went to all-white college. I realized she would be going to Howard University for job fair. I'm like, can't you stay in your school for job fair? She said, you think if they're looking for top Black kids, they're going to come to American University or Georgetown? So she will be going there to join the students from Howard University. So there are lots of resources, and they will mentor you, they will support you, they will make sure you get internships. So if you have anybody from Nigeria, that's another good route. In fact, we're talking of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. His first college in America was a historical Black college, Lincoln University.
So I have a question, Ms. Bademosi.
Yes.
So is Morgan State, is that a state school?
Morgan State, it's a historical Black college. It's getting some grant from the government, but because you are labeled as African American, a minority. So like my sister said, I don't know how they carve it, but I know they give scholarships to students. So
that's what I was referring to.
Different because they have some endowments. Oh yes, I know the answer now. There are some alumni, because I did get one of my masters from a historical Black college, and I contribute. There are some alumni contributions that can be used for that. So they use discretion. They use their discretion to fund that. Even John Hopkins, there was one student in Howard County that reached out to me and said, Auntie Shola, can you help me with recommendation? And I did. And when she got accepted, she told her she had no money. And an alumni said he will pay for her. So the alumni paid for the 4 years at John Hopkins. She ended up going to graduate school, to medical school. Actually, she's a doctor now. So there are so many ways you can play around it. But for graduate school, state school or no school, you can be hired as a teaching assistant. There will be opportunities for you to get some money, because as a graduate student, you might be able to have some hours that are given to you to work. And also as an international student too, if you have visa, you can also get some hours. You can get work permits at school, but they will only limit few hours for you. But at the same time, you can use those hours to build your job skills and the resume.
Okay, thank you very much. There is one more question or two. This one is kind of centering over the question about the difference between SAT and PSAT. That Ms. Bukola Odromo wanted to know the difference between that. And while you're at that question, I also have another one centering on PSAT. PSAT is a pharmacy school admission.
I actually answered that on the chat.
Okay.
PSAT is Pharmacy School Admission Test, and it is the standardized test that is used to get into pharmacy school, just like MCAT, Medical College Admission Test. But SAT is the test is the standardized test that is used to get into college from high school. Kids, and I'm sure Irene can tell us more about that. She's my sister, Shola. Sorry,
Probably Shola, stop calling me Irene.
Exactly. You don't damn Lori. It's so Shola will be able to tell us more about that, about the SAT high school.
Yeah, there's PSAT. PSAT is the practice for the SAT. When your child is in 9th grade, in fact, some students, because if you see what the other side is doing, you'll be surprised that we need to catch up. They make sure their children are taking it even in 8th grade. So, but if your child has not taken it in 8th grade, that's fine. In 9th grade, make sure your child takes that test every year. When you take it in 9th grade, the report doesn't go to anybody, but it gives you feedback. It's like somebody's sick now, I go to Dr. Opesanmi. She will send me to the lab, and when the lab result comes out, then she'll be able to tell me what is wrong. So the PSAT is for you to take the test and see where you are, because they will give you the analysis of your test. So you will know where your strengths and your weaknesses are. So you practice in 9th grade, you practice in 10th grade. By the time you take it now in 11th grade, you get some money if you do very well. Many organizations will be looking for you, and they are willing to pay for your tuition in college. So, but a lot of the time, our students don't know the importance of the test because the parents don't know. So they just show up and just take the test without studying. But the other side, they study, they hire tutors, they do everything and prepare for the test. Once you're a National Merit Scholarship finalist, no college in the country would like to deny you, they want you. So what we have to do is to make sure our children are practicing with the tests. And for my sister that says she's international, she heard about this from abroad. To practice for the SAT, everything is on College Board, the first website I showed you, and I will put it in the chat. You go in and have your child register and start reviewing. They have practice tests there. And if you need more resources, you let me know. But I'll put in the chat the 2 websites that are good for you to study for the tests, and I will give your child extra support because they are expensive, but there's no point in you spending money if our kids can just come together instead of hanging out in the mall. Just sit down the old-fashioned way that we did in Nigeria and study together. There's no reason why any one of them cannot score 800. If they have perfect scores, every college will want them.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bademosi. You have really been very resourceful for us, and sharing your wealth of knowledge with us and your experience as well. I believe, most of us that are on this platform today, we have been able to take home 1 or 2 things, including myself. With the issue of the special ed care needs, let me just use that to round up and we close this session. I have a child that was diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 10. My sister, that specializes in special ed care needs advocacy. Yes, I was really advocating for my child. I was out there. In fact, the first time in the elementary school, the school nurse doesn't even know what is accommodation for a child with type 1 diabetes. I had to be the one to educate the nurse, get the package together, how this will be done and how that. So all the way through, my child, because of supposedly diabetes, that disability, she loved dancing and stuff. I advocated for her all the way to high school. She became the brigade, commander. When she's going out to go and dance with the band, they have to have a nurse with her. And when she was going to college, I did that as well. I went ahead of time, sent in the paper, contacted the diabetes, the disability department and stuff like that, and she gets all her accommodation. So advocacy is very important on the side of our parents. And if you don't know, please talk to somebody. There are advocacy group for special ed students. Contact them, Google it. They have groups. They can help you to, even if they are doing individualized plan that does not fit your child, you can do that. You know,
Exactly.
I used to do that with some of the families that I used to work with when I was working as social worker, case manager in the community. I give them all those resources, contact them, go into that individualized meeting with them, and then they come up with a plan that works for you and your child. But if you don't know, and if you are not participating, they'll just push your side to one side. So thank you so much, Ms. Idakwo, and the rest of us coming on board. So on this note, do we have any other person that would like to say one or two things before I round up with the closing remark for this?
So I really want to thank everybody for participating in this event. Our panelists, you've been incredible. Thank you very much for all the work you've done. To the moderators, Dr. Esther and Ms. Onamusi, thank you so much for what you've done. This is going to be the beginning of many conversations along these lines. In a few weeks, and we'll send out the announcement, we will have a follow-up to this discussion. So this discussion was really focused on college preparation. We're looking at students that are in middle school, in high school. What we're going to be looking at next is going to be a little more focused on the career side of things. You know, what do we do if we are beginning to think about perhaps moving into a different career? What do we do if we're adults trying to get back into the school system? How do we navigate the career process? There were a lot of very interesting conversations about internships. How do we get those? How do we leverage the resources within our community to begin to ensure that we provide a platform for others to actually begin to find opportunities for growth? So we're going to be having a lot more of these discussions. We're very grateful to all of you who attended. Thanks for taking the time. And please make sure that if you are not part of our platforms, please, if you don't mind, if you didn't register before coming on board, if you don't mind, please just leave your name and your phone number in the chat box, and we will make sure that we follow up with you and ensure that you're part of the different platforms that we have, so that you're going to be aware of activities that we're going to be having and that you can participate in those activities. If you have themes that you want to share with us, if you have resources available to you, if there are aspects of career or education that you believe you would be valuable to the community, we also implore you and encourage you to reach out, and we'll follow up with you and find ways of ensuring that we can take those resources that you have, we can take those specialized areas of knowledge that you have and create a platform where we can actually have those conversations with the community. So once again, we want to thank everybody. Thanks for taking 2 hours of your time on a Saturday to speak with us. To our panelists, a great thank you. To the moderators, thanks for taking this session well. And to everybody else, I would say have a wonderful Saturday, have a great weekend, and I wish you an excellent next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.